RPGs have come a long way since the original Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest games. However, despite all the technological advancements, something seems to have been lost along the way. Could it be immersion? Or maybe the overall reason for exploring the world? Today I want to share my thoughts and feelings about modern RPGs and why they should take inspiration from the old Gothic trilogy. But first, what is Gothic? Gothic is an action RPG that focuses on the atmosphere of the world and the player's freedom, developed by the German studio Piranha Bytes. You play as the nameless hero who has been sent to the prison colony as a convict with a message for the fire mages. This task may seem simple at first, except for one small detail. You don't know anything, you start at level 0, and nobody respects you except for a few characters. Therefore, you must first work your way up to becoming a respected member of quote-unquote society by joining one of the 3 camps. But we will talk about that later in the video. The first thing I want to address is the real sense of progress. Gothic is very timeless in its use of leveling up and gaining skills. In addition to starting at the aforementioned level 0 and not being able to use weapons or spells correctly, you cannot learn anything on your own, which makes sense logically, because you can't learn how to use a sword by yourself. If you had a sword for the first time in your hand, you would probably know few techniques, but you would know them because you've seen them, because someone used them. So, to level up, you must find a trainer who teaches a specific skill using learning points and currency. For every level you gain, you get 10 learning points, and instead of a classic currency, magical ore is used as a new currency in the game. Now you can learn passive skills like acrobatics, which will give you rolls instead of jumps, the fastest way of moving in early game, or even obtaining important parts of animals such as fur, teeth or claws. There are also trainers who increase your classic stats like strength, dexterity and mana. The most useful trainers will teach you how to use all types of weapons correctly, which is both visual and gameplay improvement. With each upgrade of your one-handed sword skill, the animation of using it will change, and the timing of the combos will be different. As you can see, on my level 0 character, he is holding the one-handed sword in both hands, but my late game hero only uses one hand, changes his posture, and can quickly follow up with combos. I've only seen this mechanic in the first 2 Gothics, which is a shame because I could imagine this being used in Skyrim, for example. Now, let's move on to magic. Magic in the first Gothic works a bit different than in the second and is completely different in the third. There are 6 levels of magic called circles. You must learn these circles gradually from mages and then purchase runes from each circle to cast a spell. In Gothic 2, this mechanic takes a completely different direction, as it is really like studying. You will have to join a monastery of mages and start your studies as a novice. You won't have any access to magic, but after few tasks and a major test that I won't spoil, you will become a fire mage and gain ability to learn circles. Obtaining runes is different too. They are not on sale anymore, but you can create them by combining empty rune stones and ingredients from recipes for certain spells. Now, let's talk about the world of Gothic. Gothic is a game that is all about atmosphere and immersion. The world is vast and there is always something new to discover. The game is set in a dark and gritty medieval world filled with dangerous creatures and treacherous terrain. The world is divided into 3 main factions: the Old Camp, the New Camp and the Swamp Camp. Each faction has its own unique culture and way of life. The old camp is ruled by a powerful warrior named Gomez, while the new camp is led by a Mer Lee. The swamp is home to a tribe of, you could say, cultists. The player must navigate their way through these factions and earn their respect in order to progress through the game. One of the things that makes the world of Gothic so immersive is the attention to detail. The world is filled with small touches that bring it to life, from the way wildlife works to the way NPCs go about their daily lives. The game also has a day-night cycle, which adds to the realism and makes the world feel more alive. This applies to wildlife too. Another thing that sets Gothic apart from other RPGs is the sense of consequence. The choices you make in the game can affect the way the story plays out. For example, if you choose to side with one factor over another, it can change the way certain NPCs react to you, and it can even change the outcome of the game's main quest. Just a little, but it still can affect it. In conclusion, the world of Gothic is a perfect example of what a modern RPG should strive to be. It's immersive, detailed, and filled with consequences. While many modern RPGs focus on flashy graphics and fast-paced combat, Gothic reminds us that a good RPG is all about the world, the story, and the sense of progress. If modern RPGs could take a lesson from the old Gothic trilogy, they could create games that truly stand the test of time. But by any means, I still think there are lots of modern RPGs that are really good. For example, Witcher 3, Elden Ring. Actually, Elden Ring reminded me a lot of Gothic's world because both developers thought about using the whole map and fill it with different interesting points to find. So yeah, that's probably it, and see ya.
I'm going to relax.